Time for another episode of Anchors Away. I am your host, Robert Burns, along with Sarah Threadgill on the other line, former TV news anchors who now get to have fun because we are not covering the election 2020 on the streets. We have saved ourselves from the gray hairs and all of the probably leftover pizza at this point. We'll get into a little bit more of our personal experience there, but reminder, you can, if you're not already subscribed to the show, do it. It's free. Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcasts, really, except for Amazon. Still waiting, and so I'm verbally calling them out right now to get us on their podcast platform. But other than that, Sarah, I would imagine, like everybody else, you're watching the election unfold from the other side of this and just enjoying not being out there and having to deal with it?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say enjoying. Part of me feels that pull of like, oh, I need to be there. I need to be doing something. And I think a lot of journalists who get out of the business feel that way. But then there's also that part of you that's not jealous at all because they're eating, the cold pizza. They're going on 3 or 4 hours of sleep. Yep. They're having to deal with it, potentially people, yelling at them during live shots. I mean, it runs the gamut for the election coverage, but I'm torn. I kind of want to be there, and I'm kind of glad I'm not.
I'm remembering, as I watch all this unfold, I'm remembering 2016, and we covered that election. I was in San Diego, and they had sent us, me and my photographer, Jay-Z, they had sent us as like the secondary crew to cover the Clinton campaign, thinking it was going to be an easy win, as everybody thought it was going to be in 2016. So we got there, and it was relatively quick in the night. And the excitement went from 100 from where they were down to like 5 until they realized there was nothing. And we looked at our phones, and I have a picture of he and I sitting next to each other. And we looked at our phones, and it said Donald Trump wins they called the election, Donald Trump wins. And I think I remember the picture just said, holy shit. Like this, it actually, like, that happened, and no one predicted this at all. And you can see the expression on our faces. I'll post the picture on social media. You can find me at Robert Burns TV. And we're just like, the look on our faces like, holy shit. And so that's what I remember from the last election. Meanwhile, this one, I'm watching it, and there's just so much drama, and it's now a couple of days out, and they still have not declared the winner. And even when they do, there's going to be lawsuits and Supreme Courts and all this other stuff in there. I'm not envious at all. I even sent a message to a friend of mine who hopefully will be on the show soon enough. And I told her, I said, hey, look, I'm glad I don't have to actually be out there covering all of this nonsense. And she just replies, ugh. And I think that's kind of where, ugh, that's where we are. It's just an ugh phase.
Yes, but regardless of who you voted for. Different this time around. I mean, going to the election, there are no election parties. So, it is one thing when you are sent to cover the candidate's election party who loses, and you're, having to keep doing hits and cut-ins, and the crowd's dwindling, and all the energy is gone, and everybody's, upset their candidate didn't
Nobody
win.
wants to talk to you.
Nobody wants to talk to you. Those are the things I don't miss, but I think it's a little bit different this year. I think it's less of the in-person live action as it is more of I saw a crew post that they came in from Houston to cover a state senator race, and there's no election party. They didn't have anywhere to go to do the live shot, so they stood in front of the state capitol, which is gorgeous at night. So great backdrop, but what was the point? They could have just stayed in the newsroom.
Yeah, and I think as we're going to briefly touch on the election, not to get too political on this one, but you mentioned it's a completely different cycle than it was 4 years ago, and you look at a lot of people were having predictions being made that they thought one way, they thought it was going to be a landslide. I don't think a lot of people even thought it was going to be close. I think regardless of who you were for, you thought it was either going to be all the way one side or all the way the other, and that includes a bakery in Pennsylvania.
This is a yummy story.
That's a cute transition. It's a yummy story. So there's a bakery in Pennsylvania, and what they do is obviously they sell cookies. And so they had made cookies for Donald Trump. They also made cookies for Joe Biden, and they were selling them using it as an unofficial poll to see who was going to win in this not real projection. And so the customers came in, and obviously they bought a lot of cookies out there. This bakery is in Hatboro, Pennsylvania. I have no idea where it is, even though I lived in a neighboring state. But they held this cookie poll, and they've held actually this for the past 4 election cycles. This year, though, the predictions came in as a landslide. They predicted Donald Trump was going to beat Joe Biden by a whole lot because they sold 31,000 red Trump 2020 cookies as opposed to 5,700 blue Joe Biden cookies. And so I think that the possibly borderline diabetes community in Hatboro, Pennsylvania is going to be a little disappointed in their projections, but it's something that they do every 4 years. It's kind of fun. Like you said, it's a yummy way to kind of get involved.
A yummy way to get involved in it. I mean, it appears from projections at this point that Trump did take Pennsylvania, so that makes sense. But yeah, it's a fun, interesting way, and I feel like if people could kind of focus more on that, fun part of it a little bit, it wouldn't be such a heavy topic. So I'm glad bakery is doing this, and then other people are trying to, make this more of a lighthearted situation because it's serious.
I mean, it is, and people have taken it just way
so serious.
too personal and serious, and it's a way, and even the owner says it's a way to just make the election a little fun for people.
Yes.
You get a cookie, they have funfetti colors, they're all over the place. I would try one. They're probably just sugar cookies. Mom would hate me for going out and buying cookies because she's a bakery extraordinaire. But
Wow.
I would go there if I'm driving through Pennsylvania, or if I know of a bakery nearby that does something like this. I would play along with it. Absolutely. I think it's a fun idea.
I do too. Definitely a fun idea.
All right. Well, since we don't know who the hell is going to be our next president, let's move on to another story to kind of try and relax a little bit. Maybe ease some stress. Maybe something that you can do that will get you in a Zen mode, that will get you in a
You have a really good voice. That was a great It was very
um.
soothing. Very, very soothing. Yeah, this is a story out of women's health. So I don't think it's necessarily geared towards women, but there's a product on Amazon that has over 14,000 reviews. It's one of their #1 bestsellers on their site. It's less than $25, so it might make a good Christmas gift as you're thinking of gifts to buy in the next month or two. This is an acupuncture mat. So it looks kind of like a towel, and it has a separate pillow that goes with it, and you lay on it, and it has little spikes all over it. And people are going bananas for this. They're saying it's helped with their back pain, that it's gotten, 5 stars up and down. It's $21.99 on Amazon, one of their best sellers. And you get to, I guess, have that acupuncture treatment at home. The tiny spikes are designed to target, various spots on your back when you lie down. But I don't know. I'm kind of curious. Part of me wants to go order one right now.
I mean, I've never done acupuncture. I've got back issues all over the place, not only from working out for so much, but I sleep like a question mark. It's always horrible and tangled and twisted, and so I go to see a chiropractor. I do that all the time. I've had you and I were talking earlier, I've had the cupping done on my shoulders and on my back to kind of get more blood flow to those muscles. I've never done acupuncture. And I think it's the concept of little itty bitty needles poking into me every which way in every part of my body that freaks me out.
The way this looks, if you look at the actual Amazon posting, it's more spikes than needles. So, I don't think you quite get that little bee sting feeling with it. But, acupuncture, I mean, that's a really old therapy that's been around for, thousands of years. So there's got to be something to it. So I don't know. Sorry, family. Y'all might end up getting an acupuncture mat for Christmas because
I
I'm super
want.
curious about it. And if it works, I'd give it a go.
I mean, I think if I read this article, it says there's 14,000 people on Amazon that have given this a top rating out there.
Yes.
The thing is, I need to know, do they come in different colors? Because the image
Yes, they
in the
do.
article is a very, very bright, hot pinkish color, which, I mean, real men wear pink, but if you're going to give a dude an acupuncture mat, you got to make sure it's got a little dude flavor on it.
It has total dude flavor on it. They've got about 15 different colors, anywhere from white to blue, green, gray, orange. So whatever floats your boat, Robert, they've got the color for you.
Okay, well, now I know what to expect. If I get a box that says from Amazon, I don't know who the hell it's from. I'm going to assume it's from you, Sarah, and you are sending me for Christmas a blue acupuncture mat.
Yes, and let us know because I am so curious. I really,
Well, I'm
I
not going to
wish
be
you
the
would send
guinea
us.
pig first. You can't make me the guinea pig on an acupuncture mat that you're sitting here bragging about. You can't flip the tables like that.
It's got the return policy, so you can suck it up, Buttercup.
I'll use it for
Give it a
13
try.
days and send it back.
Yeah,
Get you your
exactly.
credit back. Boy, I feel like we're just zooming right along in some of these stories here.
Lots to talk about.
Lots of interesting things to discuss. Now, I saw this one on there, and I'm not necessarily a huge fan of this particular person, Sophia Loren. She's 86 years old, by the way. I didn't realize Sophia Loren was 86 years old. But regardless, she is now doing interviews, and at a certain point, you start to look back at your life. And I'm trying to think of a movie that she was in that I actually enjoy because a little before my time, let's not lie. And I think Grumpier Old Men was the one that I'm thinking of.
I'm sure she would appreciate that.
That's a
That's
great
the
movie.
one. Well, yes, but she's been on so many.
I know. And that's the one I pick, right? That's probably the most
Yeah,
insulting one to pick is Grumpier Old Men. That Sophia Loren was in. But it was a great movie. I love Walter Matthau, Jack Lemmon, and she was in it as one of the love interests for the old guys in there, and it was it's a really funny movie if you haven't watched it. So that's actually my introduction to her. And so either way, she's doing an interview now, and they're asking her, at 86 years old, they say, hey, so do you have any regrets in your life? You've done so much. You've been with so many people throughout your life. Do you have any regrets? And if I look in here, and this makes more of a question towards you, and she says, I don't really have a lot of regrets. I try not to live that way. But if there is one thing, here's the quote: the only thing I regret a little is that I never got married in a white dress. That was the dream of mine, which is still inside me. And so my question to you is, how important is the white dress? And I didn't know that most people get married in anything other than white.
yeah, they do. I mean, you can get married in any color you want. White is obviously the traditional. There's a celeb on, I think, a Bravo TV show that just got married in a black dress. So you can really get married in anything. But for her, she really wanted to get married in this white dress to her husband, Carlos. Had been married long, long time, but she said, it's the one regret. So I don't know if it was something, I think he was going through a divorce. I don't know if Italian law or Italian, religious law was prohibiting her from
Maybe
from
that
marrying in
purity
a white
factor came into
dress.
play in the old Italian families. I don't know.
Yes.
Looking
And
back at
did you
this, though,
know
it
she
was.
had a relationship with Cary Grant as well?
She did. I know this not because it's common knowledge, but because I read the article. And she was a co-star with Cary Grant in a movie. Those two had a chance to be together, and she chose her husband, who was 22 years older than her. This was back in 1966. So she married Carlo Ponti back in 1966. He was 22 years old. They stayed together until 2007 when he died. He was 94 years old. And so now she, in her 80s, is thinking back and even wrote a memoir and kept saying how Cary Grant kept pursuing her, and she was like, "Nah, I'm good. Like, I'm gonna go with this other guy." But the smallest thing I can think in a celebrity's life would be to not be married in a white dress. And I don't know if that's a big celebrity thing. It might be the Italian culture coming out in her on that one.
Exactly. I mean, there's a picture in the article of her actually wearing a beautiful white dress. Appears from the 60s. So it's not like she wasn't able to wear a white dress in her lifetime, but it was specifically for her wedding. She wanted to wear a white dress. But dresses now, they're white, they're cream, they're off-white, they're whatever color you want to call them. And I don't think these days people pay that much attention. There's this whole wear a white dress if you're still a virgin kind of thing. And it's 2020. So I don't think women, and I might be wrong, but I don't think women really pay attention to that.
Did you get
They
married in a white dress?
I did. I did get married in a white dress with some sparkles. I got married on New Year's Eve, so it was a big, fluffy, sparkly white dress. And I feel for her because she's 86. You don't want to have regrets at that age, but I don't know, ladies. Do what you want to do. You want to get married in a white dress? Get married in a white dress.
See, let's circle back on this. So you got married, not only in a white dress, which is fine, but you got married on New Year's Eve, which made your wedding party probably the party of the year, correct?
That was my goal. I was
Okay.
going for that. But I also had a lot of friends at the time who were new parents. So about half of my wedding left early that night to go home and be with new babies. And so, you get married a little bit, and I say later in life, like 29, you've
Oh,
got to
you
contend
old
with
maid, you getting
I
married
know,
at
as an old maid.
29.
You've got to contend with people have other things they've got to do. I was kind of hoping it'd be the event to be at on New Year's Eve, and we still had a great time. But yeah, it's a little bit different when everybody's popping out kids about the same time, and they gotta get back home.
See, I have I don't know if it's a rule, because it'd be a stupid rule. And anyone who's listened to this show knows I have a lot of stupid things that I believe in, or at least think of. And so my stupid thing is I would never have a wedding on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, because to me it's too close to another holiday. And I don't want to take away from. I'm not getting engaged on Christmas Eve. I'm not getting engaged at somebody else's party. Like certain things, I stay away from. So I would probably veto down the New Year's Eve concept. However, fun night. I would have gone to the wedding for sure. I'd have been a guest like a champ.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's one of those things. We actually got engaged on my husband's birthday. He
See, I would
proposed to
never do that.
at dinner
I
for
would
his
never.
birthday.
I love you to death. I would never propose to you on my own. It's my day. I'm not propose. I would the day after, the week after. You are not
You're
taking
gonna be
away
the
my
random
spot.
guy, the random,
I'm the
just spur of the
rando.
moment. Yep.
I'm the side chick. I know. It's fine. All right, we do want to thank our sponsor for this show, Anchor. It's the easiest way for us to bring you the podcast. They give us everything we need, it's all in one place, and most importantly, it's all free. Everything on our iPhones, on our iPads, on our computers, all the creation tools to edit, it's all included, and they distribute the show for us. Send it to Spotify, send it to Apple, send it to Google. So you can start your own podcast, get in on the game, download the Anchor app, or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's fine. All right, let's move on to one more story here. And it's right up my alley. I believe you found something. Sarah is going to talk sports now.
Yes, watch out. I did a little bit of sports reporting back in my day.
Back
Yes.
in your day in 19.
Let's keep it in the 2000s, please.
Okay, fair enough.
Back in the day, I was a sideline sports reporter, and it was awesome. I only got puked on about twice from football players that
That's
come
about right.
off the
That's
field.
low.
Yeah, it was a you had to watch for your life on the sidelines of a football game like that.
I'll bet.
So this particular story is talking about that same energy, that pumped up spirit, that energy. And I've wondered about this since NFL has started, since college football has started. You have a few fans trickled in, sitting there cheering. You can faintly hear the cheers when a touchdown is made, but you don't have that same roar, that same hype, that same energy. And so this Chiefs player, Kansas City Chiefs player, Travis Kelce, is talking about that in People magazine, saying, it's been a battle for the players to find the energy, create the momentum, that they're really having to do it themselves. They're really having to hype each other up,
Hmm.
and they can't really, they can't rely on the crowd to get them hyped up and ready for that next drive when there's no one there.
Yeah, I would imagine it's really weird. It's got to be like going to a glorified practice for them. And I played football in high school, but I also, I was a sports anchor for a number of years, and I've gone to those in the locker room, and I've watched them get hyped up before and afterwards, the parties and basketball games. So same thing, but so the dynamic with the crowd is different. And there's some stadiums where there are some fans. There are some stadiums where there are no fans. For example, in New York, a state where I live, there are no fans. But if you go to a neighboring state, if you go to Pennsylvania, they're allowing 30% fans or whatever the number is. And so it's got to be tough, even though they're pumping in crowd noise and they're playing music. It's got to be difficult to kind of hype yourself up, like you said, when you know that if you score a touchdown, it's just your buddies that are going to come there and give you a high five, and you can't jump into the stands, or you can't throw the football or high five the little kid in the front row or do any of that stuff.
No. And, we just got through with the World Series
Hmm.
and, watching the playoffs for that, it was very much the same thing.
Hmm.
Obviously a big Astros fan being from Texas, but, you know, it did not have the same energy that it had the year before, that it had
Hmm.
2 years before. It just
Because they had
was
fans, they had fans at the World Series. Just it was limited.
very, very limited, and most of it was honestly just from what I understand is just family. So
Hmm.
wives, parents, that kind of thing.
Right.
So that's got to be tough because part of being a professional athlete is, yes, you're an athlete, but you're also an entertainer. You're there to entertain. That's why you
Hmm.
get paid the millions of dollars to entertain, and it's hard to, I imagine, do that when you don't have the response
Hmm.
from people. But
Hmm.
I will say, so you and I, being reporters, when we look at a camera, all we see is our reflection back, right?
Hmm.
You look at a camera and you see yourself back. Most of the time, you're not talking to crowds of people. So for me, a little easier to get hyped up, so to speak, and get ready for that live shot. But I can't imagine if I, had to rely on the hype. If I had a whole bunch of fans behind the
Hmm.
camera,
Hmm.
ready to cheer me on, and then all of a sudden that was gone.
I um I think I'd be okay with it. It would be obviously it would be a big switch, but you got to figure out other ways to kind of pump yourself up, and maybe we got to play like my old high school football get hyped playlists.
Uh-oh, knew it was coming.
It's just one of those days where you don't want to wake up. Everything is fucked.
Now, does that age you
I
a
had
little
to
bit,
cut it off.
Robert? Oh,
You
you
want to
caught it just in time, buddy.
ripping someone's head off.
Love this song. Come on, Limp Bizkit. Of course, that was on there. Yes, I'm going to age myself. It was in the early 2000s, and we wore khaki shorts and sideways visors and all that stupid stuff back then. But I got on TV, and I didn't have to wear any of that nonsense. I had other clothes that didn't fit because I was too young at the time. But I did cover an Orange Bowl in Miami, and I remember we were on the field and trying to do live shots, and I used the crowd as a prop. When I was doing
Yeah.
my stand ups, I used the crowd as a prop. I was playing around in the corner. I had a blast with it. Um, I would not have been able to do the same stories without them. We'll just put it that way. It would have been completely different, a lot more watered down, kind of dried out. And I don't think I would have had nearly as much fun. It would have still been neat to be at the game. I think I got ran over by a football player on the sidelines, and we got on TV for a little bit that way. But outside of that, like there would have been no real back and forth. There's no screaming at your buddy next to you, or your photographer, or whoever it is that you're working with. So it would have been a lot different, I think. And
Yeah.
I don't know, like I said in the beginning of this, as we bookend this show, I don't know if it's something I would really want to deal with. I think I enjoy watching the games right now instead of having to be a sideline reporter with no fans
There
at
you go.
football games that are on Tuesdays now. So
Yes.
I get it, Travis Kelce. I'm with you, brother. Same team.
Travis, yep, we feel for you. And it's the same, like we said, We're not there watching. We are there watching the election. We're not out there having to be in the middle of it. So it's a little different when you're on this side of the spectrum and really getting to see what some people are having to deal with. So props to all of my reporter friends out there. I mean, it runs the gamut from CNN, Fox News, big city reporters, small market reporters. Bless y'all. You've done a great job, and hopefully you get a little bit of rest after this election.
And hopefully we figure it out soon enough. But the music playing means it's just going to have to work itself out. Sarah, you can follow her online, Sarah Threadgill Media, or Sarah Threadgill TV, I think. Is that
TV or Instagram.
That's what it is. I am Robert Burns TV. Leave us a review. Helps us out. We'll talk to you again